Two angels are desperately trying to reach you, and this is their final attempt. They've whispered to your spirit before, messages tucked inside your dreams, gut feelings that made your heart race. Moments you couldn't explain but couldn't forget. You dismissed them. Or maybe you didn't know how to read them. But now, the whisper is gone. This time, heaven is shouting. And the one delivering the message is Archangel Michael, heaven's chief warrior, protector, and enforcer. When he speaks, it is never small. It is never casual. It means something is moving, fast, dangerous, hidden. You are being warned because your soul is standing too close to something that looks harmless, but is feeding on your spirit. This is instead about fear. This is about truth. The enemy is not a figure in red. It doesn't come with horns or fire. It comes cloaked in logic, in comfort, in routine. It shows up in thoughts like, it's probably nothing. This message isn't set for me. But it is. That voice of doubt, that's part of it. Michael is speaking now because something has crossed the threshold. The enemy is not coming, it's already here. And for some of you watching, it's already inside. There's a presence moving through your thoughts, your relationships, your habits. It's invisible, but real, and the angels have been watching it grow bolder. So why you? Why now? Because heaven sees something in you that the enemy fears. A destiny. A voice. A ripple you could cause if you woke up in time. And that time is now. You were born into a spiritual war. You didn't ask for, but refusing to fight won't keep you safe. Ignoring the signs won't protect you. And silence. Silence is surrender. For years, the world has grown more chaotic. And while you've been trying to survive, something has been slowly conditioning your soul to fall asleep. It's not just the media. It's not just technology. It's a coordinated strategy. A spiritual ambush. Michael has seen what steps coming next. And he knows that if you keep walking unaware, you won't survive what's about to unfold. At least not spiritually. So this message will reveal the identity of what's been secretly opposing you. The divine signs you've been trained to overlook. And the next step you must take. One that will either protect your soul or leave it exposed. This is not just information. It is activation. You were led to this video because something inside you is ready to awaken. The question is, will you allow it? Because make no mistake, not everyone will hear this warning. And even fewer will act on it. The angels are watching, heaven is recording, and Michael is giving his final alert. What you do next is your choice. So take a breath. Clear your thoughts. Listen with your soul. Watch until the end. Because this could be your last spiritual wake-up call. And if you're feeling chills right now, if something inside you is trembling, then pay attention. That's not fear. That's recognition. Your spirit knows this message is for you. And it's time to remember who you really are. The enemy isn't who you think it is. It doesn't come dressed in darkness or announce itself with evil. No, the real enemy is far more subtle, far more intelligent, and far more familiar than most realize. The enemy hides in convenience, in compromise, in culture. It smiles, it entertains, it adapts, it learns your weaknesses and disguises itself as your desires. This enemy doesn't knock at the front door. It slips in through distraction, through pride, through false light. And here's the chilling part. It knows the language of heaven, and it uses it to build traps. Many people believe they are walking in truth, when in fact they're trapped in a carefully engineered counterfeit. The enemy doesn't need to turn you into a monster. It only needs to numb your purpose. It doesn't need to make you evil. It only needs to make you passive. And the most terrifying thing, it will use your own beliefs, your own faith, your own words, against you. The angels have watched this happen, generation after generation, souls lulled into silence, while the enemy grows bolder in the shadows. It infiltrates through media, education, religion, relationships, any system you trust. Michael has seen churches slowly drift from truth to trends, trading fire for formulas. He's seen leaders exchange integrity for influence. He's seen communities built on spectacle, not spirit. And yet the real war isn't out there. It's in you, in your mind, in your attention, in your agreement. Every time you agree with a lie, every time you say, "That's just how it is," you give the enemy more ground. And it doesn't take much. Just a crack. That's all it needs. A moment of bitterness, a window of jealousy, a seed of offense. These are doorways, not emotions. And once they're opened, they're hard to close. That's why Michael is here now. Not just to reveal the enemy's presence, but its pattern. This enemy isn't random. It's strategic. It studies you. It learns what triggers you. It knows your past wounds, and it will use them as bait. The people who hurt you, the addictions that follow you, the inner critic that never shuts up, those aren't isolated battles. They're all coming from the same source, with the same goal to silence your spirit. Because the enemy's greatest fear, but in fulfillment. Prophecy is not a movie, it's a mirror. You're not just a viewer of these warnings, you're part of the fulfillment. Your yes unlocks the next move of heaven. Your no delays it for others too. That's how important your decision is. This isn't just about your breakthrough, it's about your bloodline, your neighborhood, your influence. When you wake up, others around you get the permission to rise too. But that starts with one thing: surrender. Complete, immediate, uncompromising surrender. It's the only response worthy of a final warning. There, quote, is a war happening right now, and you're in the center of it, whether you acknowledge it or not. This is not metaphor. This is not a parable. This is a reality, and every day that passes without your awareness is a day the enemy gains ground. Spiritual warfare isn't a religious idea. It's the unseen tension you feel when your mind says rest, but your soul is unsettled, when your heart longs for peace, but your environment keeps pulling you into chaos. It's why you can't sleep at night. It's why your relationships are strained. It's why your purpose feels foggy, even though you're doing all the right things. Because behind what you see is a very real, very strategic battle between heaven and darkness, and your mind, your heart, your destiny are the prize. Archangel Michael has not come with gentle words. He's a general, a warrior, and when he shows up, it's not for ceremony, it's for combat. He's watched the enemy build altars in entertainment, doctrine, government, even in churches. Subtle altars, not to Satan directly, but to self, to ego, to comfort, to confusion. He's seen angels dispatched and intercepted. He's seen prayer blocked by pride. And now he's drawing your attention to what you cannot see, but have surely felt: a constant invisible pressure, trying to wear down your will to fight. The enemy knows it can't take your calling. It can only convince you to surrender it. That's why you've been hit with waves of discouragement, anxiety, compromise, and confusion. Because if it can't possess you, it will distract you. If it can't distract you, it will exhaust you. And if it can't exhaust you, it will isolate you. Everything is strategy. The sudden friendships that weakened your standards, the timing of temptations, the heaviness that hits you the moment you try to get serious about your faith. These are not coincidences. These are coordinated attacks designed to keep you reactive instead of prophetic, to make you fight shadows instead of roots. The battlefield is your agreement, what you align with, empower, and declare. Heaven is not passive in this war. You have an army behind you, and angels respond to your alignment, not your emotion. When you worship, they move. When you obey, they are released. When you pray with faith, they war on your behalf. But when you compromise, when you knowingly align with the enemy's narrative, you silence your own backup. And Michael wants you to understand that authority doesn't come from volume. It comes from submission, from purity, from clarity. You don't cast out darkness by yelling louder. You cast it out by refusing to agree with its lies. That's what makes you dangerous. Not your talent, not your charisma, but your clarity in warfare. This is not about being perfect. It's about being positioned. The enemy doesn't fear your potential. That's why it keeps trying to anchor you to your mistakes. And heaven is trying to break those chains, if you'll let it. Every spiritual battle starts in the invisible realm, but its effects bleed into the visible cycles of poverty, generational trauma, relational sabotage, chronic insecurity, unexplainable fatigue. These aren't always psychological, they're spiritual. Michael has seen families implode because they didn't recognize the spiritual source behind the tension. He's seen callings derailed by casual compromise, and now he's reminding you, ignorance is no longer an excuse. You've been drafted into this war the moment you were born with a purpose. You didn't choose it, but you must respond to it, because neutrality is not protection, it's surrender, and silence is not peace, it's permission. When you stay passive in warfare, you give territory to the wrong kingdom. But when you rise, when you speak, fast, pray, discern, and obey, you shift atmosphere. Angels move when the righteous declare. Heaven backs the bold, not the distracted. And if you're feeling weary, it's not a sign to quit. It's a sign you're close to breakthrough. The enemy doesn't waste energy on people who aren't a threat. If you're under attack, it's because you're over the target. But now the question is, how do you fight? Not with fists, with focus, with obedience, with discipline, with relentless, unwavering agreement with God's word. No matter how you feel, your feelings are not your truth. Your alignment is. The sword of the Spirit is the word. The shield is faith. The helmet is salvation. These aren't metaphors. They are real defenses that repel real attacks. But only if you wield them. You must choose daily which kingdom you'll empower, light or darkness, because there is no in-between. And Michael is drawing attention to the places in your life where you've been unintentionally empowering the wrong side. The shows you binge that poison your discernment, the words you speak over yourself, the bitterness you secretly feed, the complacency you justify as rest. None of these things are neutral. They open doors, and in this war, every open door becomes a spiritual gate. The enemy doesn't need full access, just a foothold. And heaven is now asking you to slam those doors shut with holy urgency. Take inventory, identify the cracks, renounce what's not of God, and do it boldly. You don't need to be an expert in warfare to win, you just need to be aligned. Obedience defeats darkness faster than knowledge. Surrender disarms the enemy before you even speak, but you must mean it. Half-hearted declarations won't shake the enemy, but full submission terrifies hell. When you finally align fully, you'll feel the shift. Battles that used to drain you will break. Cycles that followed you for years will shatter, because warfare is not just surviving attacks, it's enforcing the victory that was already bought for you. You're not fighting for victory, you're fighting from it, and that perspective changes everything. Michael isn't here to hand you comfort, he's here to place a sword in your spirit, not to harm but to divide, to cut between truth and almost truth, between light and illusion, between emotionalism and obedience. That's the kind of clarity needed in this hour, because the greatest deception is thinking you're in the light when you're still walking in agreement with darkness. But today that ends. Today you fight with eyes open, armor on, spirit engaged. You fight not just for yourself but for everyone tied to your breakthrough, your family, your community, your future. This war is personal, but it's also global. Heaven is mobilizing, the enemy is scrambling, and you must decide, will you be a spectator or a soldier, because the gates of hell will not prevail, but they will attack, and your alignment determines your outcome. So fight with worship, fight with surrender, fight with obedience, and when you do, know this, heaven is fighting with you. Michael is not just speaking, he's standing beside you, sword drawn, waiting for your agreement. And once you say yes, not with words, but with your life, the war begins to shift in your favor. You are not weak, you are not alone, you are not losing, you are awakening to the reality of warfare and stepping into the authority you were always meant to carry. You were crafted with divine precision, etched into existence by the breath of the Most High, because there is something on this earth that cannot happen unless you step into it. This is your divine mission, not a career, not a role, not a dream, but a calling written into the marrow of your bones. And the reason the attacks have been so specific, so relentless, so confusing, is because your enemies saw your purpose long before you ever questioned your potential. Heaven knows your name, but so does hell, and every lie you've believed, every fear keep you muted. Don't let shame keep you seated. Don't let comfort keep you small. It's time to rise not as who you've been,
but as who you were born to be, fully, boldly, relentlessly. You're not chasing a calling, you're catching up to one. It's already inside you, and now, it's time to move, because heaven isn't counting how long you've been stuck. It's watching how quickly you'll respond once you understand. You've always had permission, now you have revelation. The next move is yours. This is it. No more warnings, no more delays. You've heard the message, you've felt the pull, you've sensed the urgency in your spirit, and now the moment of decision is in front of you. Archangel Michael has delivered the truth, not to entertain or to inspire temporarily, but to call your soul into immediate action. Because this isn't just another video, it's not just spiritual content, it's a divine summons, a final trumpet blast shaking your comfort zones and exposing everything that's been holding you back. You've been awakened for a reason, you've been chosen in this time for this generation, with a message, a purpose, and a mission that cannot wait another day. The alarms in your heart aren't anxiety, they're alignment. The chills down your spine aren't coincidence, they're confirmation. You've been living under the illusion that your story is ordinary, but it's not, it's prophetic. And now that heaven has opened your eyes, the only response left is action. Don't go back to silence, don't go back to compromise, don't go back to scrolling past what was clearly designed for you. You've crossed a spiritual threshold, and nothing will be the same. The signs will feel louder now. The spiritual war will feel closer now. The calling will feel heavier now. But that's because you're finally seeing clearly, and clarity is the first step toward transformation. This is the hour to pray like you've never prayed, fast like you've never fasted, walk like you've never walked. Your legacy depends on it. Your future depends on it, and generations you will never meet are tied to this exact moment. Don't underestimate what's been unlocked. Don't underestimate yes, this is how curses break. This is how revival begins. One obedient soul, one surrendered life, one voice that refuses to be silenced any longer. The time of lukewarm living is over. The time of distracted scrolling, passive consuming, and spiritual avoidance is done. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to blaze a trail. So rise, speak, move. Cut ties with anything that numbs your fire. Choose discipline over delay. Choose truth over trend. Choose your divine assignment over your temporary feelings. Because heaven has marked you, and hell has noticed. And both are watching your next move. The angels are ready. The sword is drawn. The war is here. And now, you must answer the call. If this message pierced your soul, if something deep inside of you shifted today, then don't just feel it. Follow it. Say yes, say now, say whatever it takes. And if this woke something inside of you, then subscribe to this channel, share this word, and be the voice someone else is desperately waiting to hear. Because you are not just a spectator, you are the awakening.